and we are going to do something a little bit different this morning in the room. I think a lot of times traders try to make trading a lot more complicated than it is, and in this case I'm going to show you it doesn't have to be that complicated. Okay, alright, the first window that you see over here is the multi-chart scanner window. I do have the THD volume divergence, which is available for Multicharts and TradeStation, followed by the ADX. And the most important information that the ADX gives me is the fact of when there is a magenta peak, I'm expecting it to retrace back to the ATR, which is the plus sign that you see on my charts. It's either above price or it is below price. The second piece of information that the scanner gives me is it identifies very, very quickly which markets are either overbought or oversold, because anything that is above 70 is considered to be overbought or oversold. So I want you to actually pay attention at the moment, because the gold chart on the 45-minute is at 70. The euro chart on the 45-minute is at 64. Okay, that's important pieces of information that you need to know today on both gold and the euro. Okay, after that I have the THD RSI indicator. The only thing that I use that for is to identify areas that are either overbought or oversold. Again, look at the value on gold 12 minutes. It is at 52. That tells me that that market is currently overbought because the background is blue. Okay? We then have the THD Potential Indicator, and that easily identifies when price is either at the ATR or the congestion dot. Okay, the congestion dot is this white dot that is on the chart, and again the ATR is below. Now, in order for the potential entry indicator to plot, you must have both the ATR, which is the plus sign, and the congestion dot being plotted on the chart. Okay, the next indicator that we have is the THD pullback to the ATR divergence indicator. That, again, is available for Multicharts and TradeStation, and it tells me that as price is pulling back to the ATR, if it is registering divergence. Do I only go by that? No, I do not. Sometimes if it's at the ATR, I'll go ahead and look at it and make my own judgment call. But because I trade multiple markets, I trade up to 30 markets at a time, that is very useful in case I miss something, especially on the higher time frames, because when you're focused on a lower time frame, sometimes you're not noticing the divergence on the higher time frames. Now, the next column that we have is the THD Trend Atr. This is a really, really powerful scanner and radar screen tool. Number one, it tells you what the previous bar trend is. Then it tells you what the current bar trend is. It also tells you how far is price from the ATR. Why is that important? Well, it's important because every entry is generated off of either an ATR or a congestion dot. I don't enter in the middle of nowhere. It's either at the ATR and my stop is slightly below the ATR, or I'm at the congestion dot and my stop is slightly above the congestion dot. So very easily I could tell you right now the 3 minutes is 2 ticks away from the ATR. The ATR has now flipped because the ticks to ATR is in red and the current bar is also red. Does everybody understand that? Now, I also know that it has not closed above that previous ATR with momentum, because you see that congestion is being plotted right now in the sale. Okay, so that means that yes, they're flipping the ATR, but they don't have momentum behind them right now. Okay, so that's a lot of information just off of that one screen without even looking at a chart. Okay, now let's go look at the chart real quick. This morning, I have already plotted the ATR values from the higher time frame on the 180-minute chart. Now, again, this is where we try to make it complicated, or we think that it's something magical about how we plot these lines. Okay, it's not. And I'm going to show you real quick off of the 720. Okay, this is your 720 chart. This is your ATR. Okay. So that ATR is at 1236.9. I've put it at 1237, so I can just pull it down a little bit. There. Okay? Now, it doesn't matter if I put that line on my 180-minute chart or my 45 or my 3 or my 12. The significance of that line is to forewarn me that there is resistance in that area because it is above price. That's the only significance. It doesn't matter which time frame I put it on. Does everybody understand that? What matters is I'm paying attention to that area, because that area, as price approaches that area, it tells me, hey, you need to start zeroing in on the volume because you are at an area of resistance. Does everybody understand that this morning? Now, in addition to that, if I was trading a lower time frame, you see that I have the meter window over here on the bottom right-hand corner, and you can see I've got gold, silver, crude, and the dollar. There is a correlation with gold, silver, and crude against the U.S. dollar, okay? Now, what happens if gold is moving in the same direction as the U.S. dollar? I stay out of it. If the U.S. dollar is moving against gold, then I will trade it. Now, we've had a beautiful uptrend on gold this morning. And again, I'll show it to you because you had two beautiful entries, okay? And we'll send that one back. All right. Over here, you flip the ATR. Again, a lack of momentum when it flipped this ATR. You plotted the congestion dot, okay? Comes back to the ATR. This is not a unique situation. It happens over and over and over and over. You'll see it just all over the blog. Okay, so it formed this congestion dot, comes back to test the ATR, test the ATR at no volume whatsoever, and then it starts up. Again, it reaches the congestion dot, can't really quite break that area, comes back for a new test, and then takes off to the upside. Okay, so you had two really great entries into gold this morning, and if you notice, over here, gold was going up and the dollar was coming down. Does everybody understand that? And that was a 15-point move on gold. That's 150 ticks. At $10 a tick, that's $1,500. Okay? You would not have had to risk very much at all. Your ATR is sitting here at 1214. You could have put your stop at 1213, and that would have been a really big one. Yeah, it did. It came in last night, actually, at about 6:30 during Asia. But again, two beautiful entries, regardless of whether you are using binaries, whether you're using spreads, or if you're using the futures. It's all the same, okay? It depends on your bars, actually, Jack, as to what the time period is. We don't use daily averages because this is a 45-minute chart, so it would be a 45-minute average. To get a daily average, you'd have to go to the 1440. Okay, any other questions about that? And that's really, really not that complicated. Now, we can make it complicated, okay? But we don't have to. You retrace to the ATR, volume is decreasing on the lows. What does decreasing mean? It means that the volume bars are getting shorter on the lows. And that's really simplistic trading there. And then the next thing, okay, if I'm going to risk, let's say 20 ticks, okay, I want to make at least 40 ticks, minimum. Okay, that's the other part of it. And that's the part that a lot of traders really have a lot of trouble with. Because, you know, typically we have lost so much money that by the time we see one little old green bar, we're ready to take the profits. Okay? But it is the risk to reward that actually will guarantee your success. Okay? The indicators give you the high probability trade setups. The risk to reward makes sure that you have profit at the end of the week or the end of the month or the end of the year, because you will go through a drawdown. I don't care how great the indicators are. You will lose money, whether it's because you entered and you should not have entered. And I'll show you a case of that right now. Let's see, over here. Well, actually, it's on gold. Let's bring in the 3-minute chart. Okay. Here's your 3-minute chart, okay? You're trending up and you've missed this move and you're kicking yourself in the butt because you missed this move. So now it's come back to the congestion dot over here. So you say, well, I'm going to go ahead and go in because it's going to go back up, okay? The one thing that you should note right now that I told you to note a few minutes ago is the ADX is telling you that this is what? It is overbought, okay? Now, if we go back to the scanner window, the RSI is also telling you it is overbought on a 12-minute chart. So if you take this, yeah, it might go up here and hit this ATR. That's typical. But the bigger movement is probably going to be down because you've got two conditions that are actually overbought at the moment, okay? And chances are you can even get stopped out of this one, but you missed that big move earlier, so you want to get in. That is not the indicators. That is you not reading the indicators like they should be read. Does everybody understand that too? Chris, what don't you understand? All right, let's look at the euro real quick. We've had a wide bar up, okay? The euro is right here. It's a 180-minute chart. It's come back to this ATR. Do y'all see that? Now, that ATR, what the price bar itself does not finish until 9 o'clock this morning. At 9 o'clock this morning, I know I need to read the volume at that congestion dot. Why do I need to read it? Because right now, sellers are stepping into that market. You see it because the delta, which is this little gray mark here, is going to the downside. Do you really want to enter a long position if sellers are taking control of the bar? My idea would be no. I'll wait. Now, remember the pattern that I showed you earlier where you have a congestion dot? The congestion dot normally comes back down to the ATR. But now remember, the ATR does move up with price. Okay, so right now the ATR is at 28.33. That will come up towards price. All right? So right now, if you look up here at the 3-minute scanner window, Do you see the ADX is red, but you're getting a potential entry because you're one tick away from the ATR? That would not even concern me. And the reason that it wouldn't, number one, you've had a magenta peak on the 12-minute. I know that because this is dark, okay? And I'm still 11 ticks away from the ATR on the 12-minute chart. Now, you're almost to the point of being overbought over on the 45-minute because you're at 68.49, okay? I would say, no, I'm not going to take this yet because it's probably going to bounce down from this ATR, and that is not a place I would want to enter because I would get stopped out. I'm only running a 10-tick stop if I'm trading a 3-minute chart, right? So is it prudent to take an entry when it could retrace at least another 10 to 12 ticks on the 12-minute? No, it's not prudent to do that. Then if that rolls into the 45-minute, you got 31 ticks to the downside. Do y'all understand that? Yes, no, maybe. It doesn't really matter to me, Jack, if everybody else is watching these same time frames. What I do know is that the ATR is based on the true range of price. So no matter what, it's going to respond to those areas, actually. That's what makes the ATR such a unique indicator, actually. And see, these hedge funds, what they call the market movers, okay, they have different groups, okay? You've got scalpers that are trading 1-minute charts or tick charts. Then you have intraday traders that might be trading a 15-minute chart. Their entry might be off of a 5-minute chart. Then you have a little bit longer term. They might be in it for a couple of days. And then you have a couple of week group that they're in the trade for a couple of weeks. You know, you don't have hedge funds that are just saying, okay, I'm going to trade a 15-minute chart here. Do y'all understand that? It's too many groups, guys. And of course, then if we start thinking like that, then we're always questioning what we need to be doing as traders. Okay? The bottom line is you have to apply something in a consistent mechanical way. That's the reason that they're able to make money. That's the reason that I'm able to make money. Okay? Because I do the same thing day in and day out. I'm like a factory worker. I just churn the trades out. Does everybody understand that? Let me get my charts back in order here. Does anybody have any questions on that? Yeah, it actually will tell you, Charles. And that's one of the reasons that we really want to use the multiple time frames, because we can see, okay, this is probably going to dominate today. Okay? It is, you know, to me, in my mind, it's absolutely surprising at how accurate all of this is. But it's accurate not because I'm a great programmer, but because it all measures price action, okay? Because it's measured off of price action, that's what makes the difference. It doesn't matter what your time frame is. It's still going to capture it. You know, on the euro, and it's, give me just, I'm trying to realign my workspaces and all. You know, on the euro, when you had this movement to the upside here, okay, is that not exactly the same as what we saw on gold? Is this not the same pattern that we saw on gold? Congestion dots, goes to the congestion dot, goes back to the ATR, and then boom, goes through it. Okay? Well, no, you're probably going to have a retracement because your ADX is so high, Bonnie. I don't necessarily agree with that, Jack, because, you know, people watch a 20-period moving average, okay? People watch a 50-period moving average. Some people watch an 80-period moving average. Other people watch a 200-period moving average. Is there a magical number? There are no magical numbers. There are too many traders trading too many time frames to ever really have a truly magical number. Unless you believe that number is magical, it does not matter. And mine is as simple as it's divisible by 3. Volume is the key, Dan. So why does it react to the 12-minute? It's not just the 12-minute. You can do it on a 3-minute. You can do it on a 12-minute. You can do it on a 180. You can do it on a 240. You can do it at a daily. Because the ATR is based on your time frame, it's going to be a key no matter what. It's really that simple. Wells Wilder was absolutely a genius. And that's what makes it so unique. He actually found a way to measure the magical number on any time frame, and it's called the ATR. 14 is not a key number. I don't think anything's a key number. You know, some people will go in there and use a 14-period moving average. In fact, in volume, they do it quite frequently. But because they're using a moving average in the volume, they're actually lagging in the volume. I don't use a moving average in my volume. It's the exponential moving average of the true range of price, yes. But it's still, to me, it's no magical number. If you believe 20 is magical, use 20. If you believe 14 is magical, use 14. The market does not dictate that. I think the trader dictates that because they have to believe in it. That's why. I don't see it that way, Jack, at all. There is no right or wrong numbers for the market. And if anybody thinks there is, then I don't agree with them. I won't say they're wrong, but I'll say I don't agree with them. And let's see. Y'all give me a minute, because this is a good answer to that question. Okay, let's see if there's a magical number here, guys. All right. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 magenta peaks on the market analyzer. This happened last Friday, okay? Now, what did I tell you at the beginning of this presentation? Okay, I said expect a magenta peak. You get the magenta peak, where will price go? It will go back to the ATR, right? That's what we would anticipate. Okay, let's see if it did it. All right, this is the Euro British Pound, and I'm going to actually enlarge this so y'all can see it. Okay, Euro British Pound had a magenta peak. You see it listed right here. All right, from it was just about 78.10. It's gone to 78.72. Needs to get to 79.04. Now, sorry. Now, can you see it? Thank you. Can y'all see it now? All right. Euro British Pound, magenta peak. Here's a retracement going back to the ATR. It's missed it so far by a total of about 25 ticks. Okay? I would think that you could take profit from 78.10 to 78.72. I would think that any trader could take that profit. Okay? The next one, Euro Yen. Okay, Euro Yen came in right about here at 140.90. Came down to 139.82. I would think even a beginning trader could take profit on that, because it's just about 150 points or pips. Okay, the British Pound Aussie. Okay, you got a magenta peak on there. Okay, started at 8,400. It's come down to 81. Well, let's just say 8,200. Okay. Do you think you could have taken profits there, guys? That's 200 pips. And we told you in advance this is where it's going, okay? All right, down here on the British Pound New Zealand, here's your magenta peak, okay? It went from 2.0200 down to 2.0064 at least, okay? I would think that you could take profits on that. On the British Pound Yen, also magenta peak, okay, went from 180 down to 177, okay. I would think you'd be able to take some profits there, don't you? On the USD JPY, now this is the one I don't think you could have taken profits, because I don't think you had enough room for profits. There was only about 50 ticks there. Okay. So is this a magical number? I don't know. Maybe I found the magical number. Okay. But it works. That's all I know. Now, this was last Friday. Okay. All right. Yeah, it's from my NT presentation. Okay. Now, this morning, what has happened? Okay. Oh, retracement back to the ATR. Is this not identical? It's recorded on the NT YouTube video. Dan. And if anybody noticed there happened to be a magenta peak over here on the 1440, it kind of gave you a heads up, hey, we're going up, guys. Is that not just the same thing I showed you? And then if you go over to gold, what do you have? Magenta peak, magenta peak. Hey, we're going up, guys. Oh, thank you, George. Now, where does it go when you get a magenta peak? It goes back to the ATR. Did it not get back to the ATR on the 720? Now, how many charts have I just showed y'all this on? There were 7 on Friday, and just 2 that I've gotten to this morning so far, okay? Now, also, we did this on Friday in the NinjaTrader room, okay? This magenta peak made it. This magenta peak retested the low. This magenta peak made it. This magenta peak, because it's flat, retested the low. This one made it. This one didn't. This one made it. This one didn't. This one made it. This one made it. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Out of the 8, 2 didn't make it. Okay? Now, if you want to actually read the volume with the ATR, okay, at the congestion dot divergence, at the congestion dot divergence, at the ATR divergence, at the congestion dot divergence, at the congestion dot, if you miss the ATR, then you got the congestion dot, and it did it twice, then here you got stopped out, okay? Then it told you at the ATR down here, it's going up. It went up, formed divergence, came down. Went back to test the congestion dot just like it did on gold this morning, went down. Okay? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 entries. 1 stopped you out. So, I mean, if you want to use a 14 or a 20, you go right ahead. I'm sticking with what I got. Any questions? Yeah, it's pretty good from where I'm from. I mean, I just try to get a 50-50 because I can make money. But, you know, hey, if I can get a 80%, I'm killing it. Oh, I'm sure you do, Dan. I'm sure you do. You really want to know why, George? Because you don't stick with the risk to reward ratio portion of it. You get scared. You don't want to do it. You miss the trade setup, and I don't know why. If you're using, you know, our tools, I don't know why you would miss an entry, but there's, you know, that possibility. Yeah, there's, hold on, let me find it. No, I lost it. I didn't keep it, evidently. So, let's see what else we got today, guys. Now, I've only plotted the ATRs on gold because I actually wanted to show you how simplistic this can be. But now we're going to go and we're going to look at crude. All right. So here, the ATR is pretty well set off of the 1440. I'm not even going to mark that because it's like $3 away. If it gets closer during the day, I would. Okay. Over here, we have the ATR at 93.21. Again, that's almost $2 from price. I'm not overextended down here. I'm not overextended on the ADX here. So I'm just going to go ahead and go down to my 180-minute chart, right? Where are we at on the 180? We are at the ATR. Okay? What's price doing at the ATR? It's bouncing down. When it gets to the ATR, it's going to what? It's going to bounce down off of the ATR, right? That's exactly what you're seeing right now on crude. It's probably going to bounce down. Where will it stop? Okay? Well, one of two places, either the 45-minute ATR or the 12-minute ATR, okay? I would think probably the 45-minute ATR, okay? Any questions on that? All right, let's go look at the NASDAQ. It is moving down. We don't have anything that is overextended at the moment, but we do have a flat magenta dot here. What did that say? That said it'll come back and test this low. That low is at 40.33, okay? This low has been at 40.34. I've missed it by a point so far. Now, the one thing that you do have to watch out for right now on the NASDAQ is the congestion dot that is at 40.17. What would I do with that value? I would put it on one of my lower time frames so I would know, hey, watch out if price comes in this area. There's one of two things it will do when it comes to that area, okay? Either it will go through it and then come back and retest the ATR, or there will be diverging volume on the approach and it will go back up to the ATR. Any questions on that? Is that any different from what I've been telling y'all all day? Same thing. Over and over and over again. 40.33 is the previous low that's on the 45-minute. You had a flat magenta dot that typically tells you it will retest that low. Got that? All right, let's move on to the Dow. Now, the Dow, there's one piece of information that is being presented right now on the scanner window, and that is long divergence on the 180. This is intra-bar, okay? That bar does not end until 9 o'clock this morning. This typically tells me that we're going to get a magenta peak. That magenta peak has not come in yet. And you see the same concept up here on the 180 gold. You're getting divergence here, okay? That's usually a precursor to a magenta peak if we're over 50. That's what it's telling you. Does that mean you just go in? Nope. We all know we don't just go in. Although it is simpler to do that when you're doing the options, because the option does what? It lowers your risk on the binary side. So you can get some really cheap options on there and not lose an arm and a leg. All right. We're at the ATR on the 720. That's at 17.025. Okay. What does that mean? It means I would snap that line on one of my lower time frames. Okay. You still have a ways to go to get to the ATR over on the 1440. You do not have a magenta peak here, so it may not get there. Okay? And Really, that's the only thing I see. Now, if we do get the magenta peak on the 180, this is just something to be aware of. If you get the magenta peak down here today, then you're going to have to watch it on the approach to the ATR on the 45-minute chart. Okay? All right, let's go on to the S&P 500. The only time I trade the S&P 500 is actually on the binaries. I do like to trade it. I do not trade it on the future side. You are at an ATR on the 1440, okay? You're probably going to come on down to this congestion dot that is on the 720. I would have that value on my lower time frames. It's currently about 1967.75. Over here, you're not really overextended. If this was above 70, I would be watching it, but it's not, okay? Right now, buyers are trying to come in on the 45-minute. That's the only thing I see, okay? Other than that, it looks like we may have a down day because I would expect it to come back to this congestion dot. Any questions on the S&P 500? Let's move right along to the DAX this morning. And something is wrong with my DAX. Let's see if I can reload all the data and fix it. No, something's wrong with the DAX this morning, so I can't go over that with you. Oh, let's check the Russell. All right, on the Russell, you are coming down. You are approaching a zone on the daily, just something to be aware of. You're not overextended here. You do have a retracement coming in here, okay? Actually, if you wanted to enter that because you've had the magenta peak, this would have been your entry. You would have had such a low risk on that trade. Maybe 5 points max, and it will go up at least to 1117, possibly higher because you're getting a zone and an ATR right here. Do y'all understand that? Any questions today, guys? What's the best number for a moving average? The one that works. Yeah, as long as price is moving, Bonnie. Christian, what's your question this morning? You know, you can either focus on what the right number is for your moving average, or you can trade. Your decision. Okay? And that's basically what it comes down to. Because if you're searching for a magical number, you're going to be searching for a while. That's just an excuse. For me, that's an excuse not to trade. Well, I don't have the magical number. Okay, don't trade. I trade every day. Christian, when that came in, it wasn't you're doing the low down here. There was enough room to take a profit, especially when you've got the 45-minute back in you. I don't even think you would have risked 5 points on that trade. Your first profit target would have been 10 ticks. You already took it out. And you got the power of the 45 minutes saying it was going back. If you can risk 5 ticks and make 10 ticks, is that a 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio? Yep. Any other questions this morning, guys? Yeah, it looks like gold may come down and the dollar may go up, which you did get the magenta peak in on the 45 minutes coming in right now. You are going to get a pullback, though, because your ADX on the 3 minute is right at 80. So it overall looks like it's going to be another good trading session. Oh, I think it's going to be a fantastic week. Oh, next week's seminar is going to be really cool. We've got a small group, Chris, and we're going to kick some butt in that room. But I won't have a trading room next week, guys. Forewarning you now. We have it Wednesday and Thursday this week, and then we won't have it again until after I get back from Vegas. Any other questions, guys? I'll post the video up later today. Yeah, I'm going to post it today. Any other questions, guys? Yes, I hope everybody has a great day. I hope your trades turn out wonderful today. And other than that, if you have any questions or need any magical numbers, just send me an email. All right, everybody have a wonderful day. Hi, Gail. I just noticed you came into the room and we're just ending. I did record today's session, so you can go back and watch it later today. Okay?